The Galactic Empire had existed for thousands of years. It ruled over hundreds of star systems with strict laws, powerful fleets, and advanced technology. Many species had joined the Empire willingly, afraid to resist. When the Empire's explorers first discovered Earth, they saw humanity as just another young species, living on a single blue planet and a few nearby colonies. To the Imperial Council, humans looked small, weak, and easy to control. The Empire's ambassador arrived in Earth's orbit with a fleet of shining starships. Through a grand broadcast, he spoke with a voice full of authority. People of Earth, he said, the Galactic Empire offers you a place in its order. Submit to our rule, and you will be protected. Refuse, and we will have no choice but to bring you under control. World leaders met together to discuss the demand for humanity. It was the greatest moment in history, proof that they were not alone in the universe. But that hope quickly turned to unease. The Empire's message was not one of friendship, but of control. The humans sent a reply. The President of the United Earth Council spoke calmly, yet firmly. Humanity seeks peace and cooperation. But we will not surrender our freedom. We are willing to trade, to learn, and to grow with the galaxy, but we will not be ruled. The Empire's ambassador was insulted. No species had dared speak to them like this in centuries. He returned to the Imperial Council, calling humans arrogant and primitive. The Council laughed at humanity's bravery. To them, humans were like children pretending to be warriors. They believed one quick show of force would make humans submit. Soon after, the Empire seized several human colonies on the edge of explored space. Families were taken away from their homes. Imperial banners were raised over human cities on distant worlds. Earth protested, sending messages to the Empire: do not push us. We value freedom above all else. But the Empire ignored these warnings. To them, humans were no threat. Human news networks showed images of Imperial soldiers walking through human settlements. As if fate already owned them, the people of Earth were shocked, then angry. Protests filled the streets of every city. Volunteers lined up to join the newly formed United Defense Fleet. They knew they were outmatched, but they also knew they would never give up their right to choose their own future. Meanwhile, in secret, human scientists studied every piece of alien technology they could find. Even a crashed Imperial probe became priceless. The scientists were amazed at the Empire's advanced designs, but they also found weaknesses, places where human creativity might give them an edge. One night, aboard the Imperial flagship orbiting Earth, the ambassador watched a broadcast from the planet below. A human general was giving a speech to his people. The translator systems converted his words into every language in the fleet. We may be small, we may be young, but we are not weak. We are human, and we will never bow to tyrants. Let them come, if they dare. They will learn who we truly are. The ambassador scoffed, but deep inside, a strange feeling stirred. The humans did not sound afraid. The Empire decided to escalate further. A fleet was sent to attack a small human outpost on a distant moon. As a warning, Imperial commanders expected a quick victory. They thought humans would beg for mercy after seeing the power of the Empire's weapons. But the humans fought back. They had little more than old ships and basic weapons. Yet they refused to surrender. Imperial officers were stunned to see human soldiers adapting in ways they had never seen before: improvised defenses, clever traps, and fearless last stands. Even in defeat, the humans made the Empire pay dearly for every inch of ground. Back on Earth, the United Defense Fleet broadcast a final warning to the entire galaxy. The message was simple: we have tried peace. We have offered our hand in friendship, but we will never kneel. Do not mistake our kindness for weakness. If war is what you want, then war is what you will have. The galaxy watched in silence. Many alien species who had long feared the Empire felt something they had not felt in years. Hope. Far away, in the grand Imperial Palace, the Emperor sat upon his throne and laughed. To him, humanity's defiance was amusing. He believed they would be crushed quickly, just like every other rebellious species before them. But he did not understand. He had just made the greatest mistake in the history of the Empire. Because this time, they were not facing just another species. They were facing humans. The Imperial fleet that had attacked the human outpost returned to its base with heavy damage. Several ships were destroyed, and many more were scarred with battle marks for the Empire. This was a surprise. Never before had a primitive species inflicted so much damage during what was meant to be an easy operation. Imperial commanders blamed each other for the failure. They claimed that the human victory was only luck, a result of poor planning, yet the reports told a different story. The humans had shown creativity. They had built traps, used decoys, and even sabotaged Imperial landing zones. They fought with a mix of courage and cleverness that the Empire had never seen before on Earth. The news of the battle spread quickly. Though the outpost had fallen, humanity celebrated the resistance. For the first time, people believed they could stand against the Empire. Volunteers flooded into training camps. Engineers worked day and night to turn civilian ships into makeshift warships. The United Defense Fleet grew stronger with every passing day. Human scientists made remarkable progress. Captured Imperial weapons were dismantled and studied. The scientists discovered ways to power human engines with alien energy cells. They even found weaknesses in Imperial ship shields that could be exploited with modified human missiles. What had once been impossible began to feel achievable. The Empire continued to underestimate humanity. Imperial commanders thought that humans were desperate rebels fighting a hopeless battle. They sent a second fleet to pacify Earth's nearby colonies, expecting a quick and easy win. But the humans were ready. When the Imperial fleet entered orbit above the colony of Horizon 6, they were met with fierce resistance. Human ships, small but fast, struck the Imperial vessels with sudden hit-and-run attacks. They darted in and out of battle, refusing to fight in the slow, predictable way the Empire expected. The Imperial fleet commander grew frustrated. "These humans have no order, no strategy," he shouted to his officers. But that chaos was exactly what made humanity dangerous. The Empire's fleets were built on strict rules, perfect formations, and predictable tactics. Humans, however, were unpredictable. They used false retreat maneuvers, baited enemy ships into ambushes, and even hacked into abandoned Imperial drones to turn them against their former masters. By the time the battle ended, the Empire had lost several ships, while the humans had captured 2 Imperial frigates intact. It was a shocking outcome. For the first time in centuries, an Imperial fleet had been forced to retreat across the galaxy. News of the humans' victories began to spread. Species who had long lived in fear of the Empire whispered to each other, "Have you heard of the humans? They fight back. They win." The Empire tried to silence these rumors, but they only grew louder. Small rebellions began to stir in the farthest corners of Imperial space. The humans, without knowing it, were inspiring others. Inside the Imperial Council chambers, tension was rising. Some council members demanded a strong response. "We must crush them now," one said. "Show the galaxy that defiance will not be tolerated." But others felt uneasy. "These humans, they are not like the others," one advisor warned. "They adapt too quickly. They learn too fast." The Emperor dismissed these concerns. "They are children with stolen toys," he said coldly. "A single decisive strike will end this foolish war." Back on Earth, humanity prepared for the next stage of the conflict. The captured Imperial frigates were taken apart and studied. Human engineers marveled at the alien technology, but quickly found ways to improve it, where the Empire relied on tradition and old designs. Humans experimented freely, combining alien tech with human creativity. General Marcus Hale, one of Earth's leading military commanders, stood before a group of young pilots. "You've seen the Empire's power," he told them. "They think they cannot lose. But we've shown them otherwise. We fight for our homes, for our families, for our freedom. Remember this, we are not just surviving. We are learning. And soon, we will strike back." The pilots cheered. Many of them had lost loved ones in the Empire's attacks, but their eyes burned with determination. Humanity was no longer afraid. The next time the Empire attacked, They would not face desperate defenders. They would face a species that had turned every lesson of war into a weapon. In a hidden shipyard orbiting Mars, human engineers worked on a daring new project: hybrid warships built with both human and alien technology. These ships were faster, smarter, and deadlier than anything the Empire had faced before. The Empire believed they still had the upper hand. They believed the humans were too young, too weak, too inexperienced. Months had passed since the first battles. Humanity was no longer just defending. They had learned, adapted, and built new weapons using captured Imperial technology. In secret shipyards above Mars and the moons of Jupiter, engineers completed the first hybrid warship, sleek, fast, and filled with weapons the Empire had never seen before. These ships were unlike anything in the galaxy. They combined human creativity with alien power. Their engines were faster, their weapons more versatile, and their crews far more daring. Humanity had taken what they learned from defeat and turned it into strength. The United Defense Fleet was ready for a new strategy. No longer would humans wait for the Empire to attack. Now, they would strike first. General Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the UHS Vanguard, the first hybrid battleship. Before him, a holographic map showed Imperial supply lines stretching across the stars. "They think we are weak," he said to his crew. "They think we fight like them. Today, we prove them wrong. Today, we take the war to them." The first human raids began quietly. Small fleets would appear without warning, near Imperial convoys, attack swiftly, and vanish into deep space. Imperial ships, used to predictable battles, could not match this new style of warfare. The humans used tricks the Empire never expected. They hid in asteroid fields, disguised their ships as debris, and even broadcast false distress signals to lure Imperial vessels into traps. Every raid hurt. The Empire ships were destroyed, supplies lost, and morale weakened. Imperial commanders grew frustrated. "These humans do not follow the rules of war," one officer complained. But that was exactly why they were winning. On Earth, the people cheered as news of human victories spread. Colonies that had once lived in fear now had hope. Families hung flags in their windows, proud to be part of the resistance that was standing up to the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The humans were not fighting alone anymore. Other oppressed species, hearing of humanity's courage, began secretly helping them. Small groups of alien rebels provided intelligence about Imperial troop movements. Some even smuggled supplies to human fleets. The Empire noticed these small acts of rebellion but underestimated their meaning. They believed humans were still just a nuisance, a minor threat. They did not realize the galaxy itself was slowly turning against them. One of humanity's boldest moves came when a strike team targeted an Imperial shipyard deep in enemy space. It was a dangerous mission, thought to be impossible. The shipyard was heavily guarded, and no one had ever dared to attack it. But the humans had a plan. The Vanguard and other hybrid ships jumped into the system, drawing the attention of Imperial defenders. Meanwhile, a group of human Marines infiltrated the shipyard using stolen Imperial codes. They planted explosives on key power systems. As the battle raged in orbit, explosions tore through the shipyard below. Imperial ships under construction were destroyed in fireballs. The humans captured the completed warships and escaped before reinforcements arrived. The galaxy was stunned. The mighty Galactic Empire, which had not lost a war in centuries, had just been humiliated again, this time by a species that the Empire had once called primitive. Whispers grew louder among the alien worlds. The humans fight differently. They never give up. Maybe they can win. Back in the Imperial Palace, the Emperor finally began to understand that this was no ordinary rebellion. Reports flooded in: lost fleets, captured ships, supply shortages. Even loyal governors in faraway systems were beginning to doubt Imperial power. But instead of seeking peace, the Emperor grew more arrogant. "If these humans want war," he said coldly, "then we will give them war. Prepare the Grand Armada. We will crush their spirit once and for all." On Earth, human leaders knew the Empire would strike back harder than ever. But humanity was ready. They had fought too hard to back down now. General Hale stood before a gathering of soldiers, engineers, and pilots. The Empire still believes they are unbreakable, he told them, but they do not understand what it means to be human. We adapt, we endure, and when we are pushed too far, we fight. The crowd erupted in cheers. Humanity had started this war as the underdog, but now they were becoming something more, a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The galaxy trembled as the Emperor's command spread across every imperial world. The Grand Armada was being assembled, the largest fleet in the history of the Empire. Thousands of warships gathered in deep space, preparing for a single purpose: to crush humanity once and for all. In the Imperial Palace, advisors warned the Emperor, "Your Majesty, these humans are not like the others. They do not fight by the rules. Every defeat only makes them stronger if we underestimate them again." But the Emperor silenced them with a cold glare. They are a young species. No matter how loud they roar, a single blow from the Grand Armada will end this rebellion forever. The order was given. The Grand Armada would strike at Earth itself, on Earth. The United Defense Council met in a secure chamber deep below the surface. Holograms of alien spies loyal to humanity flickered in the room. "The Empire is coming," one rebel agent said. "Every ship they can spare. They will not stop until Earth is burned." The room fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The Empire was willing to risk everything to destroy them. General Marcus Hale studied the intelligence reports. "They believe overwhelming power will make us surrender," he said. "But we will show them that power alone cannot win a war." Humanity had grown stronger than anyone had imagined. Their fleets were larger now, filled with hybrid warships. Engineers had designed new weapons capable of piercing Imperial shields. Soldiers had trained in unorthodox tactics, prepared for the massive invasion that was coming. Even more surprising, other species were quietly helping. Alien engineers sent blueprints for new devices. Smugglers delivered rare materials. Small groups of alien fighters volunteered to join humanity's cause. Though these allies were few, their support was proof that the galaxy's fear of the Empire was beginning to fade. When the Grand Armada finally entered human space, the sight was terrifying. Thousands of Imperial ships stretched across the stars, their engines glowing like a field of suns. It was a force so massive that many thought resistance was hopeless. But humanity did not surrender. Instead, they activated their final plan of defense strategy unlike anything the Empire had ever seen. Human fleets did not meet the Armada head-on. They split apart, striking from unexpected angles, vanishing into asteroid belts, and reappearing where they were least expected. The Empire's perfect formations broke apart as they tried to chase the smaller, faster human ships on the bridge of the Imperial flagship. Admiral Zyla roared in frustration. They refused to fight properly. Where is their battle line? Where is their fleet formation? They don't have one, Admiral, a shaken officer replied. They don't need one, muttered another. Meanwhile, on Mars, human engineers revealed their greatest creation yet, the Aegis fleet. A set of massive capital ships built with captured Imperial technology. Each ship carried experimental weapons never seen before, capable of disabling enemy shields with precise energy bursts. As the Grand Armada advanced toward Earth, the Aegis fleet entered the battle. Their arrival shocked the Imperial commanders in minutes. Several of the Empire's largest ships were disabled, their shields useless against the new weapons. Across the battlefield, human Marines boarded disabled Imperial vessels, hacking into their systems and taking control of them. Every captured ship became a new weapon for humanity. The battle dragged on for hours. The Empire was losing ships faster than it had ever imagined. Every time they adapted, the humans changed tactics again. Back in the Imperial Palace, news of the losses stunned the Emperor. How? He demanded. How can they fight like this? They are not more advanced than us. An advisor answered quietly, because they are human. They think differently. They never stop adapting. For the first time, the Emperor began to understand the truth. The humans were not just another rebellious species. They were something new, something dangerous because they refused to be broken. As the battle raged on, General Hell sent a final message to the Imperial fleet we never wanted. War, we offered peace, but you would not listen. We warned you, do not push us, yet you pushed. And now you will learn what it means when humanity fights for its freedom. The message spread across the galaxy, inspiring countless others on distant worlds. Alien slaves whispered to each other, the humans are winning. The Empire can bleed. The Emperor, furious and humiliated, ordered every remaining ship to attack Earth. It would be a final, desperate gamble to destroy humanity before they became too strong, but humanity was ready for the final battle. The galaxy's balance of power was about to change forever. The Grand Armada gathered for its final attack on Earth. It was the largest force the Empire had ever sent against a single enemy. Imperial commanders believed that sheer numbers would finally crush the humans. But humanity was ready. In the hidden shipyards around Mars, the final hybrid warships of the Aegis fleet had been completed. Even more surprising, dozens of alien ships had arrived to fight beside humanity. Small rebel groups from across the galaxy had heard of human victories and decided to join. They brought their own strange technology, their own tactics, and their own courage. For the first time in history, the galaxy stood united against the Empire. General Marcus Hale looked out at the fleet assembled before him. Human ships, captured Imperial warships, and alien vessels of every shape and size floated together in formation. This is more than a battle for Earth, Hale said over the fleet-wide broadcast. Today, we fight for every world that has lived in fear. Today, we fight for freedom for all of us. A cheer erupted across every ship. The battle began when the Grand Armada jumped into Earth's orbit. The Imperial fleet's sheer size was overwhelming, rows upon rows of massive warships, glowing with weapon fire. But the humans struck first. The Aegis fleet fired its new weapons, disabling the shields of several Imperial flagships in seconds. Rebel alien ships swarmed in, finishing off the weakened vessels with coordinated attacks. The Empire responded with brutal firepower, destroying several Allied ships in the opening minutes. But the humans refused to fight in one place. Their fleets scattered, weaving through the Imperial formations, attacking from all directions at once. Every time an Imperial ship adjusted to the humans' tactics, the humans changed again, using new formations, sudden retreats, and hidden traps. The battle turned into chaos, and chaos was exactly what humanity excelled at. Far from the main fight, a small human strike team infiltrated the Imperial flagship. Using stolen codes and stealth devices, they boarded the vessel and hacked into its command systems. Inside the flagship, alarms blared as human Marines took control of the ship's weapons. Target the other Imperial warships, the strike leader ordered. Moments later, the flagship's massive guns turned on its own fleet, blasting nearby Imperial cruisers before anyone could react. The sight of the Emperor's own flagship firing on Imperial vessels sent shockwaves through the Grand Armada. Commanders panicked. Orders became confused. Ships collided in the chaos. General Hale saw the opening. All ships attack now. Push them back. The combined human and alien fleet surged forward. Disabled Imperial ships were boarded and captured. Every captured vessel became another weapon for the resistance. By the time the battle ended, the Grand Armada was broken. Hundreds of Imperial ships lay destroyed or captured. The flagship itself was taken over by human Marines, its crew surrendering after realizing the fight was lost for the first time in history. The Galactic Empire had suffered a defeat so crushing that it could not hide the truth. Across the galaxy, news spread quickly. The humans had won. On distant worlds, oppressed species began to rise up. Imperial governors fled as rebellions erupted everywhere. The myth of the Empire's invincibility was shattered forever. In the Imperial palace, the Emperor listened to the reports in silence. His pride was gone. His empire was falling apart, not because of a stronger enemy, but because of one that could adapt, endure, and fight for something greater than power. The humans warned us. One advisor said quietly, "They told us not to push them." The Emperor said nothing. Months later, a new alliance of free worlds was formed. Humanity played a leading role, but they did not rule over others. Instead, they built a council where every species had a voice. General Hale stood before the council chamber, now filled with representatives of dozens of liberated worlds. "We did not fight this war to replace one empire with another," Hale said. "We fought because every world deserves freedom. Together, we will build a galaxy where no one fears the chains of tyranny again." The chamber erupted in applause. For the first time in centuries, there was hope for peace. Yet deep in space, the remnants of the empire still lurked. They had lost the war, but they had not disappeared. Humanity and its new allies knew that future battles might still come. But if they did, the galaxy would be ready, because humanity had shown the truth to all who doubted them. They adapt, they endure, and when pushed too far, they rise. And now, the galaxy would never forget it. The end.